Greetings cards sell really well on Etsy and they are a fantastic way to showcase your artwork. However, you need to have really high-end professional designs if you want to compete with the thousands of other card sellers that are on Etsy. If this is an area that you're looking to expand into, you're going to want to watch this video as I'm going to show you the entire process step by step of how to turn your artwork into greetings cards. I use Procreate to create my designs and then I assemble the designs over an Affinity designer. If you're an illustrator or greetings card creator, I want to see your links. Drop them down below so I can head on over and show you some love. Now, when it comes to creating greetings cards, I prefer to use card blanks, and that's because it's not only quicker, but in my opinion, you get a much more professional finish with them. I've got lots of different size designs for my greetings cards, and my preferred thickness is 300 GSM, which is why it is perfect that Paper Cutz not only provides me with 300 GSM card blanks, but also in both a matte and a gloss finish. Paper Cutz are very kindly sponsoring today's video, and as they always provide me with the card blanks for all of my card sales, of course I'm going to be showcasing them today. Paper Cutz has got lots of card sizes available, but the most common ones that I use are 6" by 12", which folds down to a 6x6" design, a 7x10", which folds down into a 5x7" finish card, an A5 finish, which folds down to A6, and finally A4, which folds down to A5. The great thing about 300 GSM is that it is sturdy enough to stand up, but not so thick that it won't fit through my Epson ET-8550 printer. As always, links to everything will be in the description box down below. The best thing for me to do is to show you exactly how to set up your canvas in Procreate. So if you go to the little plus sign here, you can create a new canvas. Now for me, I prefer to go for A4 for all of my card designs. So if you hit the little plus here and it will ask you the dimensions, change it to millimeters and the width 210 and the height is going to be 297. DPI we want to keep as 300. Now the most important part now is to go over to color profile, and it's going to ask you if you want RGB, which is a standard digital format, or CMYK, which is better for printed items. For this I usually keep it as a generic CMYK profile and then press create. Now if you have a look at your color wheel here, you will see that everything looks slightly duller compared to when it's in RGB. This will give you a much better representation of your colors when it comes to printing out your artwork. And if I show you on this card artwork here, if we go into the little tool and then canvas information, when I click on color profile, you can see that it is the generic CMYK profile here. So when it comes to exporting your design, the most important thing to do, especially if you're going to be using Affinity, is to scroll to the bottom and to turn off your background color. So we're then going to go to the spanner again. We are going to go to share, and it is really important that you press ping for exporting, because this will give you the transparent background and then you can export it with whichever way you use. Because I'm going from Apple to PC, I usually export to my G drive, but you can do whatever you need to do. And next we're going over to Affinity Designer. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed and share it with a crafty friend. These are all tiny things that you can do which really help my channel to grow and don't cost you a penny. I really do appreciate it. So Affinity Designer has now been acquired by the Canva family and it is currently free. So I will drop a link down below. I highly recommend this program. I've been using it for several years over on PC, and also there is a very helpful app for Apple as well, which means it really is a perfect all-in-one tool choice. So we're going to go to New Document. I'm going to show you how to create an A5 card that folds down to an A6 card, but the premise is exactly the same regardless of what size you choose. So we're going to go to the print preset, and the page width is going to be 210. The page height is going to be 148.5. The DPI is going to be 300. Now if we go to color format, we had already set up our canvas in Procreate to be CMYK, so we are going to match it up here with just the standard CMYK 8 and the preset version here. We're then going to press create. So we now have a lovely A5 size here, and we are going to draw a rectangle just to help us with spacing. So if you go to the left and we've got the rectangle tool, we're going to drag it out slightly. We're then going to head down to the lower right transform panel here. We're going to change the width to 105 and the height is going to be 148.5. We're then going to use the alignment tools here. We're going to align it to the right and align it to the top. And we now have this perfect half of the page here, which is going to make lining everything up easier. Next up, we need our artwork. Now this is currently giant. As I explained, I prefer to start in A4 and then scale it down because you don't get any loss of resolution, because Procreate is a pixel based software rather than vector. If you are scaling up, then your artwork can look grainy. So we are going to head back over to the transform panel. This time we're going to lock the aspect ratio here, and for width we are going to go for 90. And that should scale it all down perfectly there. We can then move it over to see if we are happy with how it looks. Definitely like that. You can see I've got the little guidelines snapped on here. So it's going to show me, there's the magnetic guides for snapping up here. If you turn that on or off, you'll get those when you're trying to move around. Before you go any further, you need to right click and we are going to rasterize and trim. That will get rid of the excess around the design, and it will also stop the annoying bug that sometimes happens that I showed you on the last menu printing video, where you get stray lines in your artwork. We definitely don't want that. Now, I always prefer to add text in Affinity Designer because it looks much better, and I actually have created my own font from my own handwriting. So we're going to go to the artistic text tool. I'm going to give a rough amount of how big I would like the writing to be. And I'm going to put the text I would like on the front of the card. I'm going to highlight all of that, and I'm going to go up to the font on the top left here, and I'm going to search for my handmade font. There we go. I'm going to duplicate this by going back to the selection tool, and Control and J will copy that. I'm going to move it down, double click and finish off the rest of the top font. I'm then going to play around with the size of the font, and it looks a bit too wide space, so I'm going to select it all, and then I'm going to go up to the view panel, go to studio, and then if you click on character it will bring up this page here, and I'm going to just have a play with the tracking to move those letters a bit closer together. I'm going to do the same on the top, and I'm then going to use the alignment tool to make sure that everything is in the middle. So obviously with this grey box here, you can have a play around with the colours to pop on exactly what you would like. I have given you a hack previously on how to print borderless cards that are smaller than A4 to A5, so I'll drop a card for you here. But for today, I'm going to go for a non-borderless design just for speed. Now, as I explained to you in every single video, branding is important. So I would highly recommend that you create something that goes on the back of your cards that has all of your details on it. So this was created using my logo, and I've obviously got links to my website because I would prefer customers to shop for me there, and also my social handle too. So this is going to go on the back plate. Now, as I mentioned, I want a design that isn't borderless, and for that, it just means I'm going to make this ever so slightly smaller. Again, I'm using the alignment tools just to try and get everything spaced out correctly. And one thing you can do is, if you don't want these sharp corners here, if you go up to the corner tool here, you can completely decide what shape you'd like, and you can move that up there. Just want a slight curve. Perfect. So we're going to delete this back panel here. I'm happy with all of that. And before we get ready to print, we are going to right click on all of the text and we're going to convert to curves. This makes it an actual image now, and it is a raster based image. So you can click on it and move the nodes like this So it is no longer editable as text, but it means that you'll get a much crisper finish when it comes to printing. A question that's asked a lot is whether or not the Epson ET-8550 can actually handle 300 GSM cardstock. It's a very valid question, as Epson has a notoriously bad reputation for not being able to handle thicker cardstock unless it's their own branded one. But I'm here to tell you that it is possible, so you can get great print quality on a thicker cardstock that is perfect for greetings cards. You just have to bear in mind a few little things. First of all, you want to be printing from the rear printer feed, not from the front and not from the one right at the back. And secondly, there is a hidden setting that you need to make sure is ticked, and I will take you through exactly how to set this up over in Affinity Designer. So now I'm going to show you how to print your design. We're going to go up to File. We're going to select Print. Now all of these settings are for my Epson ET-8550. Yours will obviously be slightly different if this isn't what you're using. We're going to go to Properties. We are then going to tell the printer that it is A5. So I'm going to select that from the preset sizes here. We are printing landscape rather than portrait. The paper source, it is really important that you put it into the rear paper feeder, as this is going to be able to cope with the 300 GSM. We are going for colour, we are going for high, and we are changing this to either matte or glossy, depending on which one you are going to use. So I'm going to show you what it looks like on a glossy. And then the last secret setting is in maintenance, and we are going to go to extended settings and make sure that this thick paper and envelopes has been checked. This will tell the printer that you are going to be using thicker than normal copy paper, so it should help those print feed rollers to grab it. You will get a little red box here that possibly comes up. Don't worry, because we're not printing borderless, it's not an issue. We can just go OK, and then it will print. I'm still getting to grips with the margins of my new printer, but if this happens to you and you have a much shorter margin on one side than the other, just move the artwork over in Affinity Designer and it should fix it. So here we have the finished design in a matte cardstock, and as you can see I moved the design over so it's much more central now compared to the original gloss version, but this one is much deeper in colour. It's a little bit tricky for the details such as on the shirt to show up, whereas using the matte, the shirt shows up much better, and overall the saturation is a little bit less, but in a good way. So this is why I say it's always good to have both gloss and matte, because depending on your artwork. So now I'm going to show you how we assemble these. I use a card creaser. Although these are already pre-creased, which makes it nice and quick, these are good for getting a crisp finish. So it is just a case of literally folding in half down where the crease line is, and then on the back I prefer to use it like so. You just kind of lightly scrape along. You don't want to be applying so much pressure that you end up marking the actual cardstock itself, and you just do exactly the same whether it is matte or gloss. Ta-da! The same design on two different finishes. So I've been turning my own illustrations into greetings card for years now, and it is really important to me that I manage to get the same output that I design on screen when it's printed out. That's the biggest reason that I use the Paper Cutz range, because it is high quality, the GSM is perfect, and it also gives a really high professional finish that matches exactly what I designed on screen. So if I show you the gloss finish here, you can see just how vibrant everything is, and it is perfect for darker designs where some of the details may get lost on a glossy, lighter finish. I really like how the matte brings the design to life as well, and it just goes to show that you need to make sure that you are matching the correct finish to whatever your illustration is, so it's always best to have a little play around. My most common size is the 5x7. It is one that most customers prefer, but I think that the A6 is really adorable. I like the fact that the A4 down to A5 is so much more easy to print borderless. I am going to leave you a card to show you the tips and tricks to create borderless printing on those smaller sizes so that you don't have to trim everything down. There aren't many square-shaped card blanks available, and I like this one because it is slightly bigger. And the good thing is that Paper Cutz has lots of matching envelopes as well, so make sure you check out the full range on their website. So if you're wondering what printer to use, then I can highly recommend my Epson ET-8550. Yes, it can be a bit faffy with the glossy cardstock, especially in the thicker sizes, but on matte it is perfect. I prefer to use blanks because of not only are they quicker to use, you don't have to trim anything down or crease anything, they also give a higher professional finish, in my opinion. I started out just trimming down 300 GSM photo card, and although it worked for a long time, it did take so much longer, and obviously you have to factor that in to your manufacturing costs. So if you're an illustrator, you definitely need to be checking out Paper Cutz. I'm going to leave links to everything that I have used today in the description box. Pop them an email if you want to purchase anything in bulk. They always have great offers on if you are buying wholesale or bulk purchases, so just make sure that you check the deal section before you check out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and hype this video. Everything does help me. A great big thank you for watching today, and I cannot wait to see you next week. Bye!